The email lands at 9 p.m. The request is unreasonable. You know it, and your boss knows it. You feel your shoulders tighten. You type out the honest response, the one that says, "This is outside of my working hours." And then you delete it. You force a breath, type, "No problem at all," and hit send. Later that night, you feel it, that simmering heat in your chest, that replayed conversation in your head. That isn't just stress. That's the resentment tax. The hidden price you pay every time you choose to be nice when you should have been honest. If you avoid conflict, you are paying this tax every single day. And it's costing you more than you think. But what if I told you there's a blueprint to stop paying forever? It begins with confronting a brutal truth from the philosopher himself. He once wrote, "The most common lie is that which one lies to himself." That lie we tell ourselves, the one that says, "It's better to just let it go," it comes from a place most of us never think to question. We've been sold a story for centuries that a good person swallows injustice, that being the bigger person means being a doormat, that virtue lies in silence. I call this the good person trap. Think about it for a second. Have you ever felt guilty for wanting to speak up? Like defending yourself would make you seem difficult, aggressive, or selfish? That feeling isn't an accident. It's a feature of a system that Nietzsche identified over 100 years ago. He argued that our modern sense of good wasn't created by the strong to be noble. It was forged by the powerless as a weapon. Imagine two players in a game. One is strong, bold, and wins easily. The other can't win. So what do? They can't get stronger, so they change the rules. They start saying that winning is arrogant, that strength is a sin, that the real victory lies in quiet humility and not playing at all. That is the trap. It's a psychological trick that makes us celebrate our own powerlessness, and it leaves you shackled by resentment, wondering why being good feels so bad. If you've ever felt guilty for wanting to stand up for yourself, hit that like button. You're not alone. You've just been caught in the trap. But a trap is only effective until you see the bars. Now that you see them, how do you get out? It starts with learning to carry your own weight, and then learning which burdens to throw off entirely. So, you've seen the bars of the cage. The good person trap is real, and it's fueled by the lie that your silence is a virtue. Now, we break out. Nietzsche described a path of transformation in 3 stages: the camel, the lion, and the child. We're going to turn that philosophy into your personal toolkit. Let's start with the first stage, where most of us live. Step 1. Audit the camel's burden. The camel is the spirit of duty. It kneels down and says, "Put more weight on me." It carries the burdens of everyone else's expectations, deadlines, and poor planning. It's strong, but its strength is in endurance, not in creation. It survives, but it doesn't truly live. Sound familiar? Your first step isn't to fight, it's to see, to become an accountant of your own energy. Here is your first practical mission. For the next 48 hours, carry a small notebook or just use the Notes app on your phone. Every single time you say yes, but your gut screams no, write it down. A colleague asks for help on a project when you're already swamped. A family member makes a casual request that eats 2 hours of your weekend. You don't need to write a novel, just a simple log. Said yes to Mark's request, felt instant regret. This isn't about judgment, it is about awareness. You cannot throw off the invisible weight until you know exactly how heavy it is. Once you've seen the burdens, you awaken the next stage, the part of you that refuses to carry them any longer. You awaken the lion. Step 2. The lion's first roar, the minimal viable no. The lion is the spirit of sacred rebellion. It is the force that looks at the dragon of thou shalt and says, I will. The lion is what you need to reclaim your territory. But here's the secret nobody tells you. A lion's roar starts with a growl. You don't have to go from zero to a massive, life-altering confrontation. That's terrifying and often counterproductive. Instead, your goal is to find a minimal viable no. The smallest, lowest stakes, easiest no you can deliver this week to start building that muscle. I'm going to give you 3 starter phrases for your toolkit. Don't just hear them. Picture yourself using one of them. When asked for a favor you can't or don't want to do, instead of yes, try, let me check my schedule and get back to you. This isn't a no yet, but it's a crucial circuit breaker. It stops the automatic yes and buys you time to formulate a real, respectful refusal. To an unreasonable request, instead of just accepting, try. That doesn't align with my priorities right now. It's firm, professional, and doesn't invite negotiation. When someone interrupts you, instead of letting it go, simply say, I'd like to finish my thought. It's not aggressive. It's a simple, powerful claiming of space. A lion's roar starts with a growl. Find your minimal viable no. These scripts are your first tools to stop playing defense. But a lion that only roars is just a beast. The next step is the most important one, because it's where you learn to give that roar a purpose. It's where you go from merely defending your territory to building your kingdom. I know what some of you are thinking right now. But wait, am I just supposed to become an aggressive jerk? Do I have to start fighting with everyone about everything? The answer is an emphatic no. The lion is a necessary stage, but it is not the final form. Raw, untamed rebellion can be just as imprisoning as passive submission. The goal is not just to be a lion, but to evolve into a wise warrior. Think of it this way. A lion roars at every perceived threat. It's loud, it's powerful, but it's also exhausting. And it spends its energy on battles that don't matter. A wise warrior, on the other hand, conserves their energy. They are masters of strategic calm. They understand which hills are worth dying on and which are just distractions. So what is the critical difference? How do you know when to engage and when to consciously, powerfully let something go? The answer is one of the most important words you will ever apply to your life. Values. The lion fights from a bruised ego. The wise warrior stands their ground for a core value. Your ego gets bruised when someone cuts you off in traffic. Your values get violated when a colleague consistently takes credit for your work. Your ego gets pricked when someone disagrees with your taste in music. Your values are attacked when someone speaks disrespectfully to your partner. See the difference? One is a fleeting sting, the other is a crack in the foundation of who you are. Here is your new filter. Before you enter any conflict, before you unleash that lion, you must run it through this one powerful question. What deeper value is at stake here? Is it respect, integrity, honesty, your family's well-being, your peace of mind? If you can name the value, the fight is probably necessary. It becomes a noble act of self-definition. If you can't name the value, it's likely just your ego talking. And the strongest move, the warrior's move, is to let it go and save your strength for a battle that matters. This is the art of the noble fight. So I want you to take a moment and think. Comment below with one value, just one, that you are no longer willing to compromise on. Let's see what we stand for. Once you know what you're fighting for, you are no longer just a beast that reacts. You become a creator. And that brings us to the final, most beautiful stage of this transformation. So what is the ultimate prize for all this hard work? For auditing the camel's burdens, for learning the growl of the lion, for forging the values of the wise warrior. What lies at the end of this difficult path? It's the final and most beautiful stage of the transformation, the child. Now, the child is not childish. Childish is reactive, impulsive, and selfish. That's the ego we worked so hard to tame. The child is the spirit that is so secure in its own boundaries, so confident in its own values, that it can finally play. It no longer engages with the world defensively. It engages with wonder. It creates its own rules. It lives with a lightness that the camel, weighed down by duty, and the lion, burdened by the fight, could never imagine. Think of it this way. Think of all the energy you currently spend on resentment, the late-night ruminations, the replayed arguments in the shower, the low-level bitterness that colors your day. Now, imagine all of that energy is handed back to you. A blank check. What would you do with it? That is the energy you now have to create. To build that project you've been dreaming of, to love more deeply and openly, to explore the world with genuine curiosity, not as a battlefield, but as a playground. That is the ultimate freedom, because resentment is heavy, freedom is light. Become the child. This video is worthless if it stays as an idea in your head. Its only power, the only thing that makes the last 14 minutes matter, is if you translate it into action. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. So I'm not going to ask you to just think about this. I am giving you a direct challenge. Your first step on the path of the wise warrior. Here it is. Pick one of the minimal viable no scripts we discussed earlier. Just one. And your mission is to use it in the real world within the next 7 days. It will feel uncomfortable. Your heart might race. Your voice might shake. Good. That discomfort is the feeling of a muscle growing. It is the evidence that you are breaking out of the cage. After you've done it, After you've drawn that small, powerful line in the sand, I want you to come back to this video and comment with one single word describing how it felt. Terrifying, liberating, awkward, powerful. Your story, even just one word, will become a beacon for someone else who is standing exactly where you are now, afraid to take their first step. This is more than a video. It's the start of a movement for those who choose to live with courage. If that's you, subscribe for more guides on living a stronger, more authentic life. Now go and start the good fight.